Ladies and gentlemen, football fans of North Central Ohio, you are now entering the Friday Night Pigskin. So get strapped in, lay some tide and get right for big hits, top plays, and highlights. All coming your way from under the Friday Night Lights. The most exciting sounds and sights, gridiron action to serve your viewing delights. Let's go. Friday Night Lights. Get hyped, it's Friday night. Friday Night Lights. Get hyped, here we go now. Friday Night Lights. Get hyped, it's Friday night. Friday Night Lights. Get hyped, here we go now. He's at the 10, the 5, touchdown! Throws it over the middle and he gets absolutely sauced. Friday Night Lights. Get hyped, it's Friday night. Friday Night Lights. Get hyped, here we go now.
Takes the snap, quick hitter left side to McFadden, makes the catch, breaks his tackle, 35, 30, 25, one man ahead of him, gets a block at the 15, cuts back at the 10.
Nice cut back.
Touchdown,
Wow.
Hillsdale, Hayden McFadden.
Incredible.
Happy first day of November, everybody, which means it is playoff season in the great Buckeye State. Hope you all had a fantastic Halloween evening full of plenty of tricks and treats. I know that we had a lot go down live and free right here on the OH.Report tonight. I'm Brian Skowronski, your host. Big shout out to Spherion Mid-Ohio, your exclusive sponsor for this year's Friday Night Pigskin show. Week 11 is here, and it finally felt like playoff weather. I'm telling you guys, after Mother Nature, she's been blessing us. I'm not sure what she's been thinking. She's been having some hot flashes going on here lately. Suddenly, the cold sets in, and we get some football underneath the lights. And I had an awesome game to go to tonight over at NIST Stadium. A Richland County showdown. Clear Fork, they have been hot. Winners in 4 of their last 5 games, taking on an Ontario team, the number 3 seed in front of their home crowd. How would it play out? Let's show you those moving pictures right now. Colts played Ontario really tough the last time they were at NIST Stadium just a couple of weeks ago, looking to upset them as the 14th seed, but they'd have to slow down this guy. Bodpen Miller, he's as slippery as a bubble bath and as fast as a drive-through. I mean, just look at this. First third down of the game, it's long yardage, and he's able to bust through. And just a couple of minutes later, Ontario goes up 7-zip on this Mason Van Tilburg touchdown run, less than 3 minutes into the action. Later in the first, Bodpen gonna look to the end zone where Davis Hoflick makes an amazing diving interception. So the Colts back in business with the football, but later in the first, fast forward now, actually midway through the second, the Colts defense making more plays. Miller tries to escape and just drops the ball in the arms of Mason Sansom. It is a safety. Clear Fork on the board, making it 7-2. Ensuing drive looking for the lead. Here's Hoflick flushed. He's going to throw a dime to Devin Oswald, who gets 2 feet in. If only it counted. A flag on the play for a legal man downfield. The Colts still pick up the first down, but they drop the rock. Hoflick fumbles the exchange just before the half. Warriors get it, and they would run it out. We would go into the break, just 9 total points on the board. Opening drive, third quarter now. Clear Fork gonna fake the punt. Jay Jackson racing around the end, but he'll come up just a little bit short. So the Warriors would take over. They'd get stopped, though. This time, Jackson's actually gonna punt it, or at least he's gonna try. Trenton Maglet gets through 2 blockers. He swats the punt right off of his toe. And just a couple of plays later, Miller will go airborne for a Warrior score. It's 17-2 on the very first play of the fourth quarter. Now we fast forward the very next play from scrimmage. Hoflick is going to try to go deep, and it looks like this is actually intended for Landon Foltz. He led him very well. He picks it off, and he would get a convoy. We'll set up Ontario with fantastic field position. The defenses were the name of the game on this night for both of these teams. Just 2 plays later, though, Van Tilburg gonna get lost in the shuffle. Where is he? He's like Houdini. He comes out and gets Ghost on the other side. 20 yards later, he's in for the score, making it 24-2. Last chance for Clear Fork to put on some pressure. Cam Powers turns off the lights on the Colts season, picks them off in the end zone. Ontario knocks off the Colts, holding them to just 2 points. 24-2, your final score. Welcome in Josh Banks now, taking in the highlight with me, and we've been keeping up with the MOAC basically this entire season, Josh. And I got to tell you, I thought both defenses were going to be good in this one. Clear Fork's played exceptional. You saw, unfortunately, that their offense kind of put them in a couple of bad situations, but just 26 total points, that I did not see coming here tonight. But playoff defense, it was pretty fun to see that all play out tonight.
I think playoff defense is always fun to watch, but holding Clear Fork to 2 points when they were in the red zone numerous times is just the stout Ontario defense that we've seen all year. And we get to see it again next week, and I can't wait.
Yeah, pretty exciting for the Warriors. They'll get to be back at NIST Stadium where they've played very well all season long. Undefeated now, 6-0 on the year. They will welcome in Clyde, the number 6 seed, who won really, really big tonight. Not on their home turf, but Bob Penn Miller wasn't asked to do a whole lot here tonight. He did throw a few nice balls when he runs. He's the most exciting playmaker I think that we have in North Central Ohio. Well, maybe other than another guy that we're about to get here to from the MOAC as well. But just from what you've seen from Ontario, the defense gets it done tonight. We've seen other nights where the offense will put up 40 plus. How much do you like this Warriors team to maybe advance past week 12 and get into a situation where they're in a regional semifinal?
I see them getting to a regional semifinal, and I think the matchup we're all anticipating is a rematch Ontario-Shelby for a regional final, and how fun that would be. I mean, that 50-35 in round one on what essentially was a botched kickoff that allowed Shelby to run away with that game. A regional final of those two at a neutral site would just be communities galore from the area would be there, and it'd be awesome to watch. We had another MOAC team, though, that we went out to tonight.
Yeah, we'll check that out in just a second. I think one of the big reasons why Ontario's really got a great opportunity, the defense we saw tonight on full display, Bob Penn we know, the Ohio State commit, but Mason Van Tilburg, haven't got to see him with my own eyes. This is a fast, physical runner. I'm going to put him up for a top play of the week nominee. I'm not sure how you lose him there in the pack, but that's just the type of play that we've seen him make time after time. We'll slow it down, Josh. You tell me, where's he go?
He's one of those guys where you can't tackle him at the legs, and you can't tackle him with the first hit. Every back Ontario has, especially Mason Van Tilburg, runs with sheer power, and you wouldn't expect them to be as fast as they are either.
So the Warriors are moving on. We know that. But as you were just about to move on to the Galion Tigers, baby, they got hot late. They were 4-0 at the start. A little bit of a weird middle of the season against some good competition.
Yeah.
Losers of 3 straight. But they get hot at the right time. They win 3 in a row. They got to play at home tonight.
Yeah, you win 3 straight. You force yourself a home playoff game, hoping to win. But we're going to take a look at the pictures and find out what happened. You're going to see off-rip Jacob or screen pass. And it's a great just move by the receiver, outruns, eventually knocked out of bounds by Chambers. Fumble, unfortunately, it's out of bounds. Doesn't really do much for Galion. Same drive. You're going to see Coleman take it in from about 5. It's going to put him up 6-0. Not a whole lot of offense here tonight, as now you'll see Coleman picked off by Trey Longwell. Great interception by Longwell over the middle. Galion gets a stop. They get something going. Fake punt. Great job by the punter. First down, Schaefer. Great job. Shifley does a great job of getting the first down. Can they score? No.
Nope.
How about this pass? Coleman.
Ooh.
He just ripped it out of his hands. Gets it down inside the 20, but again, not a lot of scoring in this game. You're going to see Coleman going to throw a nice little 11-yard pass wide open in the back of the end zone's dueling. 13-0 at this point. Aiden Schmidt's going to get the Tigers on the board. Takes a lick in the process, but he punches it in the end zone. Galion's driving, looking to tie it up. Aiden Schmidt is going to roll right. He thinks he's got somebody open. OG says, nope, not today. Pick it off. They wouldn't get any points, so we're still 13-6. Galion's going to get the ball back. Final play of the game. Obviously, you got to go 70 yards. You're going to have to sling it around a little bit. Schmidt's going to take off. We're going to see a couple laterals here. Ends up in the hands of an offensive lineman. This one's actually a forward pass.
Yeah.
And that's going to end the game. I mean, the Ottawa-Glandorf Titans, as the 10 seed, travel to Unkrich Stadium and knock off the home Tigers. Not a lot of people expected it. It's an upset, but it's a 10-7. Me and Andy Jardy on the broadcast tonight were talking about high school football is like March Madness. You always get that 7-10 matchup, that 8-9 matchup where the lower seeds, not necessarily the better team, but on that night they come out ready to play. And that's what happened to Galion tonight.
Yeah, Ottawa-Glandorf, traditionally, pretty tough. Always some great athletes out there. But to hold Galion in check like they were able to do tonight, I think was the biggest surprise for me. Playing at home, a really motivated fan base that loved what they saw down the end of the stretch for the season push to get into the postseason, to host in Week 11. And especially, they had lost in the first round with Matt Dick, I believe, like 3 years in a row. Yep. That got to the second round last year, almost beat West Holmes in an awesome game to try to get into a regional semifinal. What do you make of the Tigers season from start to finish, where there's obviously there's been some high points, some low points? I'm not really sure what this last part is. OG's probably pretty good, but what do you think about Galion's season as a whole and ultimately tonight how it finishes?
I feel like the start of their season and then into that skid, 4-0, lose 3 straight, you lose to Shelby, Ontario, and then kind of a surprising loss to Highland. You win 3 in a row to get the home game. I feel like the season was spent trying to find an identity on the offensive side of things. You make a change against Highland, you bring in Aiden Schmidt, you slide Prosser out to receiver, you let him start getting some touches from there, and for 3 straight games, you run for almost 400 yards a game between Braxton Stuckman, Braxton Prosser, Aiden Schmidt, and then it finally started to let Jacob Chambers get back involved as well. We didn't see too much of that tonight. We didn't see those guys really get going offensively, and when you only put 6 points up on the scoreboard, that kind of tells the story itself.
So Ottawa-Glandorf is going to move on into the quarterfinals of D4 Region 14. But who would they play, Josh? How about the winner tonight? Shelby was at home taking on an Elida team that showed up, and from what I'm told, they were a very confident bunch getting off of the bus. They came to win. They actually showed up. How about, look at these shirts. They said beat Shelby, and they would strike first. 9 minutes left in the first quarter. 3-yard rushing touchdown by Amari Wash would make the score 7-zip. So, hey, they want to beat Shelby. They're showing that they can do it. But how about Braden DeVito? You'll probably hear this name a bunch coming up. Look at him answer back. One of the most dynamic runners in all of North Central Ohio. He's a quarterback. That's a 52-yard tutty. We are all square midway through the first. Ryan McGee now to Connor Konopka. 13-yard tutty. That would make the score 14-7. This is still the first quarter. DeVito answers back again with his feet. 47 yards to the zone. The PAT blocked, though. It's 14-13, Elida in front. Second quarter now, Elida stops Shelby on a fake punt. They would score on the very next play. 11-yard carry from Wash. 21-13. They extend an 8-point cushion. Shelby's Marcus Gumbert then rushes 5 yards into the zone. 6.5 minutes still remaining in the first quarter. 2-point attempt good. We are evened up. DeVito then going to throw a 72-yard touchdown bomb to Brady Bowman. 2-point attempt is short, so it's 27-21. Now an insane play. Don't blink. DeVito to Nick Eister. Eister back to DeVito. He'll then rush 15 yards for the score, and they would get the 2. It's 35-21. Shelby electrifying the crowd. DeVito barely is going to avoid getting sacked here. We'll slow it down just so that you can see. And he'll connect on the other end with Avery Lambert. 32 yards later, they would go for 2 yet again. This is still in the third quarter. And oh, by the way, have you heard the name DeVito yet? Closing time here. Pick 6, baby. Getting it done on both sides of the football as Shelby romps 49-21. But a little bit of a scare. I thought spooky season was over with Josh. And then all of a sudden, Elida comes in, and they put a little bit of pressure on them. They got the shirts on. They got the swagger. But Shelby, I think, proved that they're worthy of being an 11-0 team. They're the number 2 seed. Braden DeVito, what a dog. Oh, my gosh.
he threw that third touchdown from almost his tush. I mean, he was
Right?
almost sitting on the ground when he threw it, and to throw it 31 yards from that position, the young man is just one of the best athletes in Richland County, and dare say it, maybe even the state of Ohio. He does it all: defense, offense, rushing, throwing, catching. We've seen him catch a couple touchdowns this year. I don't know if there's anything he can't do, Brian.
Yeah, the former quarterback king over there at Shelby, Mr. Brennan Armstrong, was in the house a couple of weeks ago for that Ontario game. And according to the good folks over at WMAN, they said they were watching him and that he was just shaking his head a lot and was just like, this kid is a freak. Well, he proved it tonight, so we got to put him up for a Phe nominee, right?
Absolutely.
How could we not? Braden DeVito again making the countdown. 6 total touchdowns all the way around. I don't know what #ref means, but it probably, he should also be the ref. This dude does everything for this team, and especially when he's making plays on defense, he only comes in really in like nickel situations when they need a big stop or they need to shut somebody down. You already alluded to it that he's probably one of the best athletes, period, in the Buckeye State. I would be stunned if he is not a finalist for Mr. Football.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that before we went on the air. I really think he's got to be one of the finalists. And when you look at his numbers this year, he might, dare say, be the favorite.
Ooh, baby. Yeah, he's the second leading rusher, I think, in the MOAC this season. More than 20 touchdowns. I think collectively, now that he's got 6 more, like 50.
Yeah.
50 for the season, and he adds one on the defensive side of things. So a really unbelievable playmaker, and that sets up now. I was really hoping to get Galion versus Shelby round 2 to see how the Tigers might compete in a rematch, but Shelby now will take on Ottawa-Glandorf. You just had the highlight for them. You saw what Shelby could do. Whippet's probably going to be a big favorite. You anticipate they'll probably be able to run up the score in that one?
I anticipate it being a completely different contest than it was tonight. Shelby's going to be a favorite, I think, in almost every game they play in here in the playoffs. Against OG, OG puts up 13 points against the Galion team that I don't know, I think they scored 6 against Shelby, and Shelby put up 35. So it really says itself right there. Shelby's defense is going to figure it out. They did not play well tonight. Down 21-13 at one point, but you see it there. They rattle off 20-plus points straight and win big.
And they could just be getting started on their tournament journey, just like we are here tonight on the Pigskin. We're about to take a quick commercial timeout, but guess what? When we come back, we've got 6 highlights on the way, commercial-free in our next segment. Plus, you got to find out who was the top play and the Phe nominee winner from week number 10. That's next.
At Knox Community Hospital, your primary care physician is more than someone who delivers your test results, more than someone who writes prescriptions, more than someone who listens to your heart. We are your healthcare partner who takes the time to know you, listen to your concerns, and provide.
More than Crown. We are real people behind Crown of Dublin. Our service team is full of experts dedicated to providing your vehicle with care.
Using only premium parts and equipment, schedule an appointment with Crown CDJR today, the better way to service.
Welcome to Richland County's first artificial intelligence ATM. And if you car dance to this song you're listening to now, I will give you $50. See, that's something an ATM can never do.
serious?
Oh, we're serious.
Gosh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. We hope your day is a little bit better today.
Yes, thank you.
Instead of paying for some big-name spokesperson, Kasasa Checking gives that money back to you in cash rewards. In fact, it just bought me this cup of coffee. See how that works? Amazing! Free checking, cash rewards. Take back banking with Kasasa.
You have better things to do than to job hunt or scramble to find your next great hire. So let Spherion do it. We say local is our superpower because we live and work where you live and work. We know the Mid-Ohio job market, and we're locally owned. So you won't find a partner who's more engaged and literally invested in your success. If you're ready for something better, start with Spherion.
Gotta keep the flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't none of that. Going till there ain't none. Keep the flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't none of that. Going till there ain't none. Keep the flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't none of that. Going till there ain't none. Keep the flame on. Gotta keep the flame on. Gotta keep the flame. Keep the flame. Keep the flame on. Gotta keep the flame on. Flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't none of that. Going till there ain't none. Keep the flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't none of that. Going till there ain't none. Keep the flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't none of that. Going till there ain't none. Keep the flame on max. I'ma keep it going till there ain't none of that. Going till there ain't none. Keep the flame on. Gotta 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 keep the flame. Keep the flame. Keep the flame on.
It may be playoff season, but Mama always told me, remember where you came from. So we're going to flip it back to week number 10. We had a ton of awesome plays come in. I gave you some nominees. Here was the best of the best, according to you, the fans out there on the socials. How about Josh Byers? He's stuck in cement. Nope, it's all by design. The old Statue of Liberty goes for a touchdown in the Devil Dog game. Come on, man. Look at this. Everyone runs by him. There will be no defense in the picture. The other way, that is your top play of the week from the Danville Blue Devils. But I hope you brought your brooms out because it's going to be a clean sweep tonight as we get to our Friday night phenom. How about it? Aiden Burke of those very same Devils. Look at him wheeling and dealing. How did that not get put for top play? Oh, so close there, Aiden. But he had a monster night. Almost 180 yards on the ground. A physical runner, low to the earth type of cat, would get into the end zone 2 times on the night in a huge blowout victory of their rival on the road too, in one of the happiest places on earth, Chet Looney Stadium. Your top play and your Friday night phenom, both from Danville, for week number 10. Let's get back up to the present now in week number 11, and if you look off into the distance in the castle, normally there's a nice, big, awesome area where my friend Travis Berardi hangs out. That wasn't even a fat joke. I'm not sure why I had to indicate that you were big. I was just thinking of your throne or whatever, but you actually didn't get to hang out there tonight, buddies, but I'm going to let you handle these highlights.
Yeah, we are back in the KMAC corner. Myself, Jonathan Langdon, the kings of the castle that is Knox-Morrow Athletic Conference football. I to all you Northmor fans, apologies. We were a little bit, stretched out. We wanted to cover so many games, so I let the WQEL Crawford crew go down there and cover Northmor, do the call of that. I was at Hillsdale. I'll show the highlight of that, but trust me, you already know Northmor won. Myself, Ken Parrott, we will be back at the castle on Friday for the round 2 game. But how did they get there? Let's go to the highlights as they hosted Caldwell out of the Ohio Valley Athletic Conference. Golden Knights back at home, a win. They would be there one more time. Team rolling, first undefeated season in school history, and they're right off the bat. A.J. Bauer to the air to Jax Wenger, wide open, 26 yards, 7-0 Golden Knights, but they weren't done in the first. Jax Wenger from Bauer once again fooled everybody, even our camera person. That's good from 21 yards out. It's 14-0, and then Cohen Becker, the Tavon Austin of the KMAC, goes in right at the end of the quarter. It's 21-0. Second quarter now. Carson Campbell's going to get in on the action. Off the left side, 30 yards, little jitterbug. Jukes into the end zone, 28 the zip. And then Becker once again, he will get his second score of the night. I think that's the 5th or 6th time he scored multiple touchdowns this season. But you can't count out a guy named Big Play Bo Landon. Watch that catch. Closely guarded, but he's like, I got this easily. 26 yards. Golden Knights running clock once again. 42-0. They knock off Caldwell. They are moving on to round number 2. And guess who they get to play, Jonathan?
Absolute cinema. The Centerburg Trojans coming up.
Already calling this the game of the week on the OH.Report we're going to have next week at the Castle. Number 10 seeded Centerburg upsets Eastern on the road. They pulled away late, so we're going to get that matchup that we were all hoping we would get in this region only a couple rounds earlier. We'll have that for you live and free next week. But Northmor doing Northmor things. So many good things that we have a phenom nominee and a top play. But let's look at our phenom nominee first, and that is the quarterback. That is A.J. Bauer. He was the MVP as well on the night for the Golden Knights. Aiden Burke was also a pretty good runner as well, as Jonathan will explain to you here coming up in a bit. But our phenom nominee for the night will be A.J. Bauer. He's nearly perfect once again on the night. 11 of 12 passing, a $182. Blink 182 yards, 3 touchdowns, and they do it once again in one half a play.
Yeah, he just does what he needs to do and just takes care of business and then just moves on from there.
Yeah, A.J. Bauer, I was talking with his dad a couple weeks ago, and every stat that you put on Max Preps, every team that puts their Max Prep stats on, A.J. Bauer was in about the top 20 in the nation in passing percentage because he does stuff like that. He was 13 of 13 in the game we did a few weeks ago at East Knox, 11 of 12. It's just that passing percentage is really good, and with the wide receivers he has, that's why Northmor is one of the most lethal squads in that region. But Centerburg, they're a team too. Another one of those lethal players, Big Play Bo Landon, he's our top play nominee. At the end of that highlight, the 26-yard catch, tiptoes the sideline, gets both feet. That's good in the NFL for a touchdown. Right off the sideline from Bauer. Bauer put it in the only place that he could, and Landon said, I got you, bro. 26 yards for the touchdown. That is the top play nominee. Cannot wait to get to the Castle for that game. Centerburg and Northmor, 2 of the top 3 teams in the KMAC. But you had the other team, Danville, the top team in D7, Region 27.
Yes, I did.
And it looked like playoff Danville, didn't it?
It did, pretty much, yeah. A 1-16 matchup, pretty much just what you would expect out of a matchup as of that sort of manner. So let's get to the highlights. Danville 5-0 at their place in the regular season. They've got a
Street,
chance
baby.
At 4 more at Tough Street Stadium if they can take care of business. They did so here today, spoiler alert. Aiden Burke scores the first touchdown on the handoff from Hackman. Hackman this time, he's going to look to throw, rolls out to the right, and look at him down the field, gets past the secondary. Jeez. Nobody within 20 yards of Levi Ferre. That's the longest passing touchdown of the year for Danville, 47 yards. Very next kickoff A botched kick here from Caleb Lucas. This was not intended at all. What are you doing, Bridgeport? That went 8 yards. That didn't go 10 yards. You could have let it go. It would have been a flag, but they don't. They touch it. Danville, the next drive, it was recovered by Aiden Mickley.
Plenty of time.
He would quickly get it right back, and Mickley would score the touchdown here as well. And keep in mind, we are now at to 22-0. They got the 2-point conversion, 24-0. We're still in the second quarter here. 3 minutes to go. Aiden Burke gets his second touchdown of the night. Just able to shift by, a little bit of a hezzy move, sidestep into the end zone. And the scoring would not stop over on Tough Street.
There's
Look
the
at
jump
nice
pass.
Play design. They get the jump pass to, yes, Caleb Lucas. He had a 2-point conversion earlier. He gets 6 right there. Now we're finally in the third quarter, and Aiden Burke slips away for a snag and score, his third tutty of week 11, and the Devils would finally take their foot off the pedal, or so you thought. Here come the backups, and they did not skip a beat. Here's the senior, Hunter Mead, getting some playing time late in this one. He turns in and meanders towards the end zone, makes it a 50-piece for this Danville team. They would end up with a final score of 54-0. 9-2 they go with the Big Blue. And KMEC fans, Devils are back there next week at Tough Street Stadium. Same time, same place. You're going to want to be there.
Yeah, they'll be taking on Portsmouth Notre Dame. Shout out Jason Hansen, teacher at Bridgeport High School, my former baseball coach. I'm sorry that our Devils put on such a beating with Bridgeport, but yeah, that was just an overmatched game, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. The Blue Devils took over. Not a whole lot of yardage in this game because they got a lot of good field position because they were able to turn over Bridgeport. Those kickoffs, things like that really just took over this game, plagued the Bulldogs, and second week in a row, we see the Devils tame some Bulldogs, and East Knox, big win last week. Of course, 16 seed here. Just going to shrug them off your shoulder, move on to the next.
Yeah, taking care of some Bulldogs in back-to-back weeks. Jacob Hackman, I mean, he got the passing game going tonight. That big touchdown pass, had a couple more touchdown passes, but I think the top play was something else, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. This was an Aiden Burke pass on a 2-point trick play. Yeah, call it the Danville Ordinary because the Danville Special
is the jump pass. Yes.
So you got to have something else in your bag, and they showed it all the way in a 1-16 matchup, kind of showing your playbook a little bit early maybe, but who knows? There's a 2-point conversion. There's your top play from this Danville
Well, I
game.
mean, when they played JFK for the regional championship, they ran that jump pass almost every week, and that almost won them that regional championship with the jump pass. It doesn't matter. You can say, come at me, I'm going to run this. If you run it to perfection, it ain't going to get stopped.
Yeah, for sure. And we didn't really see much of Aiden Burke in that game running the ball. He had 4 carries for 16 yards, but he had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's like a Jerome Bettis.
Yeah, he was just a red zone guy. Siren Wallace didn't really see much from him either. Those two, they still have a chance to kind of get things going. One of my biggest points in that game was that both of them had combined for over 900 rushing yards in the last 4 weeks. Kind of gave them a little bit of a new nickname as they start to move into the playoffs. Going with Boom and Zoom, because you got Aiden booming, just trucking people all over the place. You got Siren turning the corner, one of the fastest guys in the KMAC, next to Cohen Becker, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, those two are really going to take them far, I think.
Hey, all you folks watching in Danville, there you go. Boom and Zoom. Put that on a T-shirt for next week as they take on Portsmouth Notre Dame. They ain't stopping. We ain't stopping tonight with these highlights in this commercial-free 6-pack. Let's send it back over to Brian where St. Paul, Firelands Conference champs, can they keep it going in round 1?
Well, they got to play at home on the strength of how about 6 wins over their last 7 after one of the most putrid starts in the entire state of Ohio. They couldn't score. All of a sudden, they get it together, and they had one of those magical performances in the win over Monroeville last week. Joshua Banks, you were over there to take that in at Marshfield. You were also in Norwalk tonight. They had Cuyahoga Heights at their place and a ton of momentum, but also for the opponent coming in tonight, those Red Wolves, winners of 3 straight themselves.
Yeah, Red Wolves winners of 3 straight after dropping 3 straight, and St. Paul coming off the massive upset of Monroeville at Marshfield by 1 point, mind you. How would it play out tonight? Could they stay hot? Which team continues the win streak? Let's find out. How about St. Paul coming out a passing touchdown off rip?
What?
Grant Coonley to Landon Freeze from 25 yards out. Next kickoff, they force a fumble, and that leads to a 19-yard Nick Pocus touchdown. They have been happy to have that young man back in the lineup. After that touchdown, they try an onside kick, and this is the field position that Cuyahoga Heights ends up with. and it's going to lead to a Zach Schaefer to Dzik touchdown. This sophomore quarterback for Cuyahoga Heights, you're going to see it throughout this highlight, throws an amazing football. You're going to see it again here. This one's Zach to Zach.
Dime.
First time tonight that we see that one. That one's from 20 yards, and it's anticipation route. You're going to see Chamberlain here taking him from a yard out, just rumbling through the line, and it's becoming a route. 28 unanswered after this touchdown from Schaefer to Van Dyvner. Little zig route, and he just doesn't stop until he punches it in. 19 yards there, and it's one of those things you see. You're going to see St. Paul's going to score again. They're still in it, 28-14. Jack Stiebler, the senior, is going to take it in from about 16 yards out. He's going to score. It's going to make it 28. The extra point would get blocked. So it'll be 28-20. We're still in the first half, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's still second quarter?
Third quarter is going to come up, and you're going to see a great throw from Schaefer. Unger just takes it from him. High point, takes it away. Zach to Zach for the second time. This is going to close out the scoring. 37-yard field goal by Roush. 37-20.
Bangers.
The Red Wolves dominate the Flyers tonight.
I'm a little surprised. Honestly, I thought that St. Paul, with the strength of the momentum that they had, Josh, and the fact that they were able to leapfrog about 4 different teams and get that home game, I really thought they'd play inspired. They came out of the gates and they were really hot, the first 14 points. In your opinion, what was the biggest difference after that allowed Cuyahoga Heights to overtake them and really take command of the ship?
The momentum shift from start to finish. St. Paul looked great on their first 2 drives. They score, they force a fumble on that very next kick, score again, and then they go for an onside kick. Cuyahoga Heights recovers the onside kick, almost takes it to the house on the kick, and then it was 28 unanswered from there. So that was complete momentum shift. You felt the momentum shift in the stadium. You felt everybody just kind of gasp. And it was just ugly from then on out for St. Paul's offense.
And the exact opposite on the other side, a sophomore quarterback leading the charge. Zach Schaefer up for a phenomenon this week.
Yeah, Zach Schaefer, this young man. Andy Jardy did our interview with him afterwards, and he says, a sophomore that's taller than me, not something that we see very often, but you're going to see Schaefer is my phenomenon tonight. 11 of 18, 124 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And they're all just, it's all timing throws. As you're going to see here to Dzik, it's a timing route. He's wide open in the corner. Every throw he makes is based on timing. The big thing they did on 3rd and short, even 4th and short, was a quick slant. He completed every single quick slant he threw. He throws a great ball for a sophomore, and nice thing about him, he's one of the most well-spoken young men I think I've ever met. Very composed, very respectful, and very talkative of his teammates, of his coaches, and of what they're looking forward to next week. We'll see what happens, but after you see this, we also have a top play from this game. And we're going to call it the Zach Attack.
Yeah, you got to,
because it's going to be Zach Schaefer to Zach Unger, and you see what it says on the bottom there. He just takes it. High point, just take it from him. Go get it, young man. That's the difference in the game right there, is the ability to go get the football. Cuyahoga Heights, they got to play the #1 team next week in Berlin Center, Western Reserve. But the way they played tonight offensively, they're going to give them a run for their money.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how those Red Wolves handle the top seed on the road after knocking off the Flyers. Got another team that went on the road tonight from our own backyard here. The Crestview Cougars also got really hot at the end of the season, but weren't able to get themselves an opportunity to play at home in week number 11, so they had to go all the way up to Toledo, take on a team called Ottawa Hills. Let's show you how they did against the Green Bears tonight. And right off the rip, how about this 13-yard pass? Chase Miller to Jackson Snyder.
Toe tap.
Ottawa Hills up early, 7-zip. Crestview, though, comes roaring right back. Start of the second quarter. 28-yard run here by Gavin Barker. Extra point, no good, though. So it's still 7-6, Ottawa Hills out in front. Then starts the Chase Miller show. Here comes an 11-yard passing TD to Teddy Cyberski to make it 14-6. Next up, how about a 10-yard dime to the corner of the end zone, extending the lead here. It's Redrick Pillarelli on the other end, 21-6. 36-yard connection here to Nick Anderson caps off a first half scoring spree as Ottawa Hills goes up 28-6, but the Cougars start the second half strong. 46-yard pass, Liam Kuhn to Gavin Barker. The extra point blocked again. 28-12 though, they're right back in it. But to cap off the third, here's Rocco Pillarelli again. He would run it in from 9 yards out, extending the lead to 35-12, and they would end up knocking off the Cougars 49-12. So Crestview's season comes to an end as they go on the road against the number 3 seed. Put up a fight though, and that's what you'd like to see. Unfortunately though for Crestview, they get into the playoffs again and they get ousted here in the first round. But I thought it was really fun to watch this team, very similar to how St. Paul's season started. 0-4 out of the gates. They had one of the hardest strengths of schedule in all of Division 6 at the beginning of the season, Josh. Then they started to come together. Still a pretty young team. The bulk nucleus of the squad is going to be back again. So I think there's a lot to like from Coach Haverdale's squad just tonight up against it in a very strong passing attack.
Up against one of the better passing attacks I think that they've seen all year. The conference they play in there in the Firelands is known for ground and pound full house football. They run into a team that spreads it out and you see what happens. And that's what happens to a lot of teams. That's what we've seen happen tonight to St. Paul. They ran into a team that would spread it out and they got beat. For Crestview though, you lose 4 straight. You go on a nice little win streak, you get into the playoffs, and you don't get shut out. You put up points, you compete, you fight, and you look at what they have coming back next year.
Yeah.
They might be one of the favorites in that conference next year.
Yeah, I
top
think
2, top 3.
Them along with St. Paul will probably be the top 2 teams, I would think, in the Firelands Conference that you would look at to be one of the favorites. And what a game they played. I think you called that one, didn't you? The 16-15?
16-15 game-winning touchdown in the corner. Yeah, that was the
You've had
last
some
2
good
games
ones,
I got
man.
to call in the Firelands were 2 of the best games I've got to be a part of all year.
So the Cougars wrap up their season with 5 victories. Congratulations to them to get back into the postseason again under Coach Haverdale. They still have never missed out on the playoffs. But how about this top play? Check this out. The tip drill to himself, Chase Miller, the thriller. We got to show it one more time.
The left paw.
I'm told he tipped this thing to try to keep it in bounds to himself. This has to be up for the top 10 plays of the week. Little toe drag swag in there as well for the takeaway to end the scoring threat for Crestview. So look for that coming up on my top 10 countdown. But we've got another top play that's coming up from our next game that Travis Berardi was at tonight over at the Eagles Nest.
Yeah, over at Hillsdale by popular demand. Apparently, the athletic department wanted me and Ken there for a game, so we finally gave it to them. And we were at Hillsdale tonight, the number 2 seed in Division 7 Region 25, taking on Fairport Harding out of Fairport Harbor. Looking to bounce back from that tough loss, losing them the WCAL. Would they bounce back? Well, here are the highlights I will show you. As like I said, they were looking to bounce back after that tough loss to Norwayne that cost them the WCAL. And I'll just let you know now, yeah, they pretty much did. Second Falcon possession, Cale Lewis with the perfect RPO pull. He gets the corner, and he is off to the races. That would happen a lot, though, in this game, Jonathan. A 50-yard rush. That is going to set up one. Owen Sloan, one of the leading rushers in the WCAL, 6 yards out, 7-0 after a quarter. Second quarter, and Sloan will show his aggressiveness, breaks one tackle, avoids another, then powers his way to the end zone. 13 yards out, it's 14-0. After a 3-and-out, Lewis is going to go to the air and find Hayden McFadden, and he will do the rest. Speeds past the diving defender and dashes in for 6 more, 21-0. Later in the half, 28-6, and there is McFadden again, once again making the catch, fakes out the defender, turns on the afterburners. He, along with Sloan, each recorded a hat trick in this one, 3 touchdowns each. Falcons are on the round 2 easily, 55-12. And yeah, it seemed like they they were a little angry after last week's loss.
Yeah, and as they should be. Just a tough loss for them to drop the WCAL just like that in Week 10. But how about these wide receivers for Hillsdale? Yards after the catch here
Yak.
today.
A lot of yak.
How about the yakking from Hillsdale here today? But also Cale Lewis using his feet.
Yeah.
Something we don't see usually as much as
Yeah, it was a perfect
with those
RPO.
big rushes, especially
Perfect
there.
RPO. Pulled it right out of the hands of Owen Sloan. Had a chance to option, but no, he just got the corner, took off. Nobody would knock him out of bounds, so he kept going. Nearly scored there from 60 out. But
we're seeing this team develop.
Yes,
very
much
in our very eyes. Because Cale Lewis, if he starts to run even more so than he already has been, he's going to be a big piece. Just as a sophomore, he's going to keep getting better and better, and these
Sloan's a
receivers
junior,
are helping him out for sure. Yeah, but just big time development
Absolutely.
we're seeing from Hillsdale.
And speaking of receivers, I said Sloan had a hat trick running, but we have Hayden McFadden as our fee nominee. He had 5 catches for $132 and 3 touchdowns. I'm going to show you all of them right now. The speed he has makes the one defender miss, and he's gone for that first one. The second one, look at the little move he made right there to avoid that tackler, and then again, off to the races. But this is the one that I think, Brian might put up for a top play nominee. Just watch how he catches this and then just weaves in and out of traffic. So composed, little jitter, whoop, right back. And then that was our call of the night. It's just such a good view, a good field vision, I should say, of that, because he can just, if he has a blocker ahead of him, he lets him get the block, then he might go back, left, and right. Just the movement he has with the ball, kind of like a point guard trying to break your ankles.
Yeah, and
that's what he does.
Deceivingly physical as well, because he can break a couple of tackles. I was talking about yards after the catch, but also the yards after the contact that you see in those highlights as well. So McFadden, thinking all those other receivers, I'm blanking on their names right now. Bauer, one of them as well.
Holland Young.
Yeah, Holland Young. That's one of the seniors on the team.
Even Sloan out of the backfield.
Yeah,
too.
I really like Holland Young's story too. He was a senior, played JV last year, and really worked his way up, and now he's one of the top targets. So those 3, and then also like Sloan, you said, likes to get in the passing game as well. So they've got the weapons. It's just up to Cale Lewis week by week to step it up.
And I had a couple fans come up to me. He's like, you're always talking about the offense. How about we talk about some defense in your streams too? Well, I'm going to give that to you right now. Top play nominee is coming from the defensive side. It's a fake punt, but they're not going to get it. Ball stripped out and right into the hands of Brady Heller. He's going to scoop and watch. Whoop! Jukes into the end zone. Fake punt, scoop, and score.
That might have been better than what we just saw from
look
Hayden.
at that. Look at that. The linebacker, the defensive back with the moves gets into the end zone, and it's that defensive side of things too. Owen Sloan on the defensive end laid the boom a few times tonight. This team, they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. They didn't win the WCAL. They lost that tough one to Norway, especially in the second half, but they really battled back. They will be at home next week. They will be playing Wyndham, the 7 seed. So, we'll see what Hillsdale can do at home next week. But
and just an overarching thought. We love our defense here in the OH.Report. We've had multiple defensive top plays. We've also had a defensive phenom, I believe, a couple weeks ago. Yeah, we love the defense here at the OH.Report.
Yes, we do. And I'm guessing there are some defensive plays in our next highlight, Brian. Our big team, Division II, Region 7, the #1 team in all the region, Big Walnut. Were they able to live up to that seed number tonight, or did Logan come ready to play?
Come on, baby. I think you already know the answer to this. Fly, Eagles, fly yet again. And who would have thought that they would be in the position to be the #1 seed after they got shut out at home on opening night, but against a team that they're 11-0 now. But hey, you didn't know that way back when. Now what we know is the Big Walnut is for real. Here's what they did in week 11 tonight. How about a fake punt from your own 15-yard line to open things up? Or at least that's what I was told. 4th down conversion fails. Big Walnut takes it inside the red zone. Very first play of that drive, a dime to the end zone. Big Walnut leads. None of this is matching up with my notes. I got to be honest, but I'm pretty sure that's Nolan Burley who's taking it into the end zone. That would make it, what, 14-0? 21-0? Eli Stump here. It's supposed to be a 1-yard touchdown. It's going to be. He takes it in. His second rush touchdown of the night to make it 28-0. Now he would go over 1,500 passing yards on the season with that dime right there. Stumped now to the tight end, Owen Pollock. This for a short touchdown pass, the 20th catch of Pollock's career and his 3rd receiving touchdown as Big Walnut wins big. I don't have a final score either. These are rough notes. What do we got? 42-0. All right, Bryce Coder, of course, was on the call, so if you want to see all the action, just go check out our OH.Report Facebook page, and then he's usually on the YouTube's Channel 3. So Big Walnut, another big win, and taking care of business as we expected them to do. Travis, what's next on the agenda? Do we know in D2 Region 7?
We do.
What do we got?
We do. Big Walnut will be hosting Massillon Perry. Little 9 seed, little 9-8 upset for Perry, but they will be heading down to Big Walnut on Friday night, and I have a feeling we'll have that one live and free for you on the OH.Report, right, Brian?
Yeah, we're going to be following Big Walnut the entire way, so it looks like 3 straight wins now for Perry heading into this one. They had a big lull in the middle of their season, but look at some of the competition. They play Austintown Fitch, Hoover, Jackson, McKinley, loss. They turn it on. They beat Green, though. They needed that one to get into the playoffs. Glen Oak didn't put up much of a fight, and now they knock off Northland, it looks like. So that should be a fun game, I think, for Big Walnut fans. And, of course, we're going to have that action for you coming up next Friday night with Mr. Coder on the call. We're going to take one more commercial timeout, but when we come back, I don't think it's ever too late to party. Guess what? We're going to do it again. Get ready. Get your bottle service on the way. Andy Jardy joins us. Woo!
More than Crown. We are real people behind Crown of Dublin. Our service team is full of experts dedicated to providing your vehicle with care.
Using only premium parts and equipment, schedule an appointment with Crown CDJR today, the better way to service.
Welcome to Richland County's first artificial intelligence ATM. And if you car dance to this song you're listening to now, I will give you $50. See, that's something an ATM can never do.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Oh, we're serious.
Gosh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. We hope your day is a little bit better today.
Yes, thank you.
Instead of paying for some big-name spokesperson, Kasasa Checking gives that money back to you in cash rewards. In fact, you just bought me this cup of coffee. See how that works? Amazing! Free checking, cash rewards. Take back banking with Kasasa.
You have better things to do than to job hunt or scramble to find your next great hire. So let Spherion do it. We say local is our superpower because we live and work where you live and work. We know the Mid-Ohio job market, and we're locally owned. So you won't find a partner who's more engaged and literally invested in your success. If you're ready for something better, start with Spherion.
We saw some air guitar, so some air drumming going down. He shuts it down as soon as we come to get him like a clown. Andy Jardy, what's up, big dog? Man, another fun night. 11 weeks now in the books. Who'd have thunk it?
Crazy, right? Yeah, that this is week 11. Yeah, I mean, the song was just a banger coming in. I couldn't help myself but get amped up before we came on for this segment. But yeah, how about that? Week 11 finally felt like football season tonight. It was you know, trick-or-treating in shorts the night before, and then it's like 50 degrees and a lot of fumbles at the game I was at tonight. I don't know if the cold temperatures played a factor into it, but I think we saw at least like 6 fumbles tonight. It was.
Ooh, I'm told lucky number 7.
Oh, lucky number 7. Yeah, there was probably another one in there late.
Coughing it up. Well, here's some fun factoids for you, Andy. We had 3 fake punts already on the show tonight. Of our home teams that we had on the OH.Report, 9 games tonight, 550 total points. How many do you think scored by the home team?
550 total points. How many were scored by the home team? Let's go with 485.
Ooh, pretty good guess. 445. I didn't realize we had that kind of domination tonight. I mean, that's a butt whooping. Only 105 for the opposing teams tonight. And up at St. Paul, it was the competitor that actually had the most points. I think the only road team to win tonight.
There were a lot of road teams that won like across the state tonight, but as far as our area, yeah, they've got to be one of the few that did drop the home game tonight. And oddly enough, too, like you saw in the highlights too, and as Josh was breaking it down, like this game was all St. Paul to start, and then my goodness, onside kick up 14, return to the 10, and it was over. Like honestly, after that, it was wild. So, yeah.
So sometimes. There's something called doing too much, Andy. When you're already at the top of the mountain and looking down on everybody, you don't need to keep rolling boulders, man. You're already there.
Yeah, they were already there. They had the game well in I shouldn't say well in hand. It was 4 minutes into the game, but it was a great start, you know. But yeah, well.
Okay. Well, speaking of being on the mountaintop, there's only one team in the state of Ohio that we know they're supremely planted there. They have been for 25 years in a row. And a lot of teams didn't even want to play them. Okay, Andy, I was told 3 teams opted out of going toe-to-toe with Marion Local. What did they do?
Well, they pushed the winning streak to 59. They continue to set the record now. They beat Fort Recovery tonight 68-0. That is now 20 straight opening round playoff wins. And that's also 6 straight shutouts for them. So, yeah, they just continue to find new streaks. And this is the second time they played Fort Recovery, and I think they beat them the first time 62-0.
Yep.
So they added on.
Wow.
Who signs up for that? Like you go to a party and you get punched in the face a whole bunch of times, and then they're like, "Who wants to come back?" And they're like,
"Here's the thing: 3 different teams." Refused to play Marion Local.
Yeah, that's the 19th
Fort Recovery
seed.
was the 4th option.
That's the 19th seed playing a 1. I mean, you get an extra week of practice, but I mean,
give them the bye.
It's not their fault, but just sign up. Just move up the D4 or D5 and see what you do there, because you're probably going to win that as well. Brian and I, we've talked about this. Marion Local's good enough to probably win a D4 championship.
Yeah, but I'd also really like to see the OHSA do what they say they're going to do sometimes. And then how about the 12-team playoff that we're all promised?
Oh, they get a bye and
maybe get a first-round bye. You know, there's a lot of different things that I think could go a whole lot better. Okay, so we know Marion Local almost 60 wins in a row. What else happened around the state, Andy? What are some things of note?
I think we need to highlight Monroeville with the big bounce back after the tough loss to St. Paul. They win their first playoff game since 2016. Hard to believe that
Go
was
Eagles.
8 years ago. 47-7 win over Independence tonight, so shout out to them. And then our undefeated teams after Week 10, there were 3, and there are still 3. Northmor, Shelby, and Ashland, all big wins tonight to continue their undefeated season. So it's getting good. The playoff matchups are going to get better now. We have way too many teams make it. Some of the scores tonight are disgusting, and there's no reason we should have 16 teams from each region. Some scores were like 75-8. I mean, 68-0. It's ridiculous. Too many teams make it. Hopefully we can trim the fat a little bit here.
Yeah, I know that I need to after Halloween season, Andy. Like, there's been too many treats and too many bad options in my house. But one thing that's always a good option, of course, is a good dandy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's time for Andy's Dandies, shall we? I've got 4 of them coming your way here tonight. And we're going to start with the game that I was at, Cuyahoga Heights Zach Schaefer, what a game he had tonight. 4 passing touchdowns, only a sophomore, and he was easily the best post-game interview I've done this year. Like, incredibly well-spoken for a sophomore. He sounded like he was like a 6-year senior, redshirt, whatever. But he had a great game tonight. Ran the read option very well. And yeah, team down 14-0. He was like, that's fine. We'll score the next 28 points and get out of here with the win. So kudos to you, Zach Schaefer, Andy's Dandy. We're going to go to Sandusky for Amir Aaron. Check out this stat line tonight. This is like shades of Mike Evans. 9 catches, 146 yards, and 2 touchdowns as the 11th seed Sandusky gets the win over 6-seeded Clay out of Oregon, Ohio, which is right by where I grew up. So kudos to Sandusky for going on the road there, getting the big dub. How about this stat line here for you, too? Dublin Kaufman's Amari Valerio Hudson. That's a fun name to say. Valerio Hudson. 7 touchdowns tonight as the number 14 seed Dublin Kaufman beats the 3 seed Westland 49-42. I saw some stuff about this game too, that this wasn't as big of an upset as the stat line would lead you, or the seed line would lead you to believe, but still impressive. That's Dublin Kaufman, just their 3rd win of the season. So big win for them, 7 touchdowns. And then my final Andy's Dandy, the Triway Titans quarterback, Luke Starr. He was a star tonight, 398 yards, 3 touchdowns as the Titans get their first playoff win since 2014.
Now, how about that big pack of dandies right there?
Oh my gosh, look at all this. We're all in.
Go.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I know that Westland team is who Big Walnut had to beat last week to continue their win streak to 9 in a row, now making it 10 in a row. So they're on a little bit of a skid, and obviously losing to a team that just had a couple wins coming into the season. That lets you know about the watered-down process that you were alluding to, that if you're getting in with just 2 wins, even if you can win a playoff game, you didn't earn it. I don't love it. We've been in this situation here for a few years. I don't think it's going to get changed, though, anytime soon. So,
nope.
Let's just move on and talk about the footballs, man. I mean, there was some really awesome performances. Obviously, some dandies to be had, some great top plays tonight, some phenomenons. The first round of the playoffs, though, you need to put it in the rear view to get to the good stuff, because once we get into week number 12, this is normally where the playoffs should start, or where they did for about 30 years before we added this extra layer in here. So what are some teams that you're looking forward to next week, Mr. Jardy, to see if they've actually got what it takes to continue on, and maybe even some regional semifinal or even regional championship type of caliber squads?
I want to see what Ontario can do. That was an interesting game tonight from them. I know you had kind of put them on upset alert going into this one as well. So will they look more like the Ontario that we saw throughout the regular season? Because that was a grind of a win. Clear Fork they were an interesting team this year. Kind of, I feel like, similar to what people like kind of say about Mount Gilead, about like how it's not really pretty, but they find a way to make games ugly against you. I kind of feel like that's what Clear Fork was doing to opponents this year too.
Sure.
So I would put them in there, and then I mean I'm very curious to see Shelby just continue to play the way that they've been playing, and Braden DeVito, like, I should have included him. He's like so good that you feel bad about including him every week, like as an Andy's Dandy or like a Fee nominee. But I mean, like, another 7 touchdowns tonight.
It's like, leave some room for anybody else.
Right, like you gotta spread the wealth. But I'm curious to see, like, can they make a really deep run with him at the position? And I don't see why they can't. And I want to see which of our unbeatens is the first to take a blemish. I mean, I don't know. We'll see, but it's gonna be fun. We're getting into the better part now. Like we talked about, like week 1 of the postseason is kind of a, it's the start of the new season, but it's there were some great games across Ohio tonight, just not really any in our area. But yeah, ready to go for week 12. Let's go.
Yeah. Do you want to share your collective dandy?
I have actually 2 Andy's Dandies for you, Mr. Jardy. The Centerbrook Trojans.
Yes.
You get that big matchup with them in Northmor. Centerburg's first playoff win since 2014. Tonight.
How about that? We saw a couple teams get some big wins tonight to end some streaks.
Also, West Holmes, 13 seed one. They will travel to 12th seeded East Liverpool. We have two upsets. So there's your why? Well, it should be chalk and all that stuff. Well, a 13 and a 12 will play each other in the second round. There are two. They're my Berardi's.
East Liverpool, by the way.
Dandies, I don't know.
East Liverpool, by the way, is my dad's alma mater, so congrats to him. I'm sure he's partying up. Go Potters.
The East Liverpool Potters, because they make pottery in East Liverpool.
If you're interested, I would Google the mascot because it's worth the Google. I would just say that.
Love a good mascot.
You can do a lot of things with a pot too, depending on how you make it there, Travis. But anyways, I do want to give one quick shout out we haven't even mentioned on the program tonight. How about Colonel Crawford going down to the West Virginia border? They score basically with no time remaining. They go for 2, trailing by 1, and they get it. So how about pruners trimming down a branch and bringing it home? They're moving on into the next round. That's pretty cool. And then Carrie Baby, one of those underseeded type of teams that you don't want to play when you get into the playoffs. Well, who'd they play tonight? Whoever it was, they had to find out the hard way.
Tenora?
Tenora.
Would you like to know some round 2 matchups, though?
Please.
Okay. Real quick, we get in here. D2 Region 7, like we said, Perry will be at Big Walnut. St. Francis de Sales, the 5 seed, will head to Ashland. Ashland and Big Walnut win that. They will match up in a regional semifinal. We both want that to happen. We hope that happens. D3 Region 10, the Lexington Minutemen go up to Maumee and pull off an upset. They will head to 4th seeded Rocky River next week. A tough task for them. Shelby in Ontario. Shelby will host Ottawa-Glandorf, who knocked off Galion. Ontario will take on Clyde. That's going to be a tough one. Clyde's got a good squad, so we will learn what is up with the Warriors next week. Already mentioned West Holmes at East Liverpool. 9th seeded Seneca East goes to Western Reserve and gets the win. They will head to top seeded Hopewell Loudon. Carrie Baby, they're heading to 4th seeded Patrick Henry. Colonel Crawford gets the top seed Grandview Heights. We already said Centerburg and Northmor. Warren JFK at Monroeville. I'm ignoring that ticker, so just stop it, Adam. I'm almost done. 7th seeded Wyndham at Hillsdale. We'll have that one for you as well. Delphos St. John's at number 7 seeded Calvert. St. John's, a 15 seed, upset to 2. We'll head to Calvert next week. 12th seeded Macomb at Mohawk. And finally, Portsmouth Notre Dame, the number 8 seed, beat Shadyside tonight.
Out of Shadyside?
Beat Shadyside, the Tigers, out of the Ohio Valley. They will head to Danville next week. So we have plenty of teams with home games next week.
Yeah, baby. I love it, man. Tournament time, week 12. This is when the getting starts getting really good. So we'll probably have, we had 7 live streams tonight, 9 total games that we covered. Probably going to be the same next week.
Yeah. We'll probably 6 or 7 live streams, a couple more highlights, but that's what we do.
Guys,
that's who we are.
We might have to do it. Matter of fact, we are going to have to do it. Without Andy, no party at the end of the show.
I'm so
sorry. We're partying right now as we say goodbye to the legend.
Blow out the candles.
How are we going to find out if Marion Local won?
I think there's a thing called Twitter, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah, you'll find out the same way I've been finding out.
Oh, there's social media? Okay.
Oh,
yeah. And by the way, Cavs are 6-0. Speaking of Jardy and his job.
How about that? Let's go.
120-103 tonight. Not bad.
They're pretty good. I told Brian that on the podcast last week. I was like, what did we say, over 48.5 wins? I was all on the over.
What about over 60 wins now, baby?
Let's pull it back a little bit. But I could be talked into it.
They played the Lakers earlier this week. Bronny got his first ever bucket on the Cavs, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Now he's in the G League.
Playing G
now
League
he's in
now?
the G League. But he had to get his points.
It was fitting. Dude, it's like the NBA writes these scripts.
Yeah.
You know?
It's everything's scripted.
Yeah.
Come on.
We're in a simulation. I mean, come on. It's a simulation.
All right, well, let's simulate this to the final credits now. Andy, thanks so much for another awesome season. It's been fun here partying with you late night, way past everybody's bedtime, but you always keep the juice coming, so always appreciate you, man.
Yeah, looking forward to. I hopefully can pop in for another playoff game before the season's over, but yeah, next Friday, unavailable, but yeah, basketball's right around the corner too, so definitely try and get down there for some games.
If not, catch him on Twitch.
Yeah, if I have the time. I haven't had any time lately. It's great. Happy to be busy again, though.
It's great. It's great. We're all busy, except for now. Cutting out the lights. Thanks for joining us. Just one more episode left of the Friday Night Pigskin. Be here next Friday night, right around 11:30. I will. You should too.